Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And it all seems to be unravelling very, very quickly for the Grand Mufti of Scotland. Just back during their conference, he stood there and very confidently announced that there would be a freeze on council tax, much to everyone's surprise, because nobody knew that was coming. Not even him. It was decided literally minutes before his speech, because he knew his speech was so appallingly rubbish. And of course, that's the moment the Brains Trust had his great big light bulb bing moment. Uncosted, unaffordable, but hey, it's a good idea at the time. Well, this is where it starts to fall apart at the seams. He's now being urged to dump the council tax freeze so that he can spend the money elsewhere, where it's needed. Because there is an awful lot of need in Scotland. There's an awful lot of poverty, created mostly, of course, by the SNP and their policies. And the councils will be happy as well. It gives them the chance to put the rates up a little bit, just to help out basically those who desperately, desperately need as much help as they can get. So we'll take a look at this to see why a lot more people now are voicing the opinion that he is a moron, that he shouldn't freeze council tax, and that to do so would be the worst decision at this time. So Jobby urged to dump council tax freeze to fund the end of the two-child benefits cap. Anti-poverty experts say the money used for a tax freeze should be used to help children in need instead. Well, he doesn't care about children in need. I mean, likes children, they all do. It's the SNP. We all know they're all preds, peds and pervs. But helping them, oh no, that's a step too far for this party. They like to increase misery, to increase poverty, to increase suffering. If everyone's unhappy, they present themselves as the only escape from that reality that they have caused, and thus enduring a 1,000-year Reich. He has been urged to dump plans for a council tax freeze and to use the money to scrap the two-child benefits cap. IPPR Scotland Scotland think tank has also urged the government to increase a lifetime benefits payment for low-income families to £30 a week in next week's budget. Are you kidding me? Old IQ of 86 Shona Robinson is actually out there going to raise taxes, which will reduce the tax take, and cut services, which will make life worse. She's cutting, as I've mentioned before, 30 million from the mental health budget, which will absolutely devastate it, because all those people with major, major problems, caused more or less entirely by the SNP and 17 years of their policies. And that's being taken away, 30 million out of that care. But fortunately, 35 million is being allocated to keep the foreign embassies open. So, you might be going bonkers, but at least you know that somebody's having a good time in a foreign climes at the public purse. Philip White, director of the IPPR, said both measures would cost the same as an ineffectual council tax freeze and lift a further 20 to 25,000 children out of poverty. But again, you don't want people out of poverty. People who are happy tend not to vote for the SNP. So that's entirely the wrong policy for them. The First Minuscule said during the SNP leadership contest that cutting child poverty would be his top priority. And yet, strangely, he's done everything he can in his powers to increase it, because, hey, he lies a lot. He backed a £30 a week Scottish child payment at that point, but his government has not committed to the policy for next year, and never will, of course. They're great at announcing things, but when it actually comes to doing things, that's a whole different ballgame. Oh, no. We only want to announce things so that we look good in front of the press, but we don't want to actually do anything, because, a bit hard, isn't it? We're very lazy, stupid people. He has instead championed a council tax freeze, which critics say will help wealthy households. Well, indeed, if you're in a very big house which has got a massive council tax and it's frozen, well, I mean, that's an uplift. That could be hundreds of pounds a month better off. It's marvellous. Marvellous. Children starve to death, but that's just the price worth paying, isn't it? Anyway, the budget is next week, and anti-poverty experts at the IPPR have released a list of asks from the government. Top of the list is scrapping the council tax freeze to release hundreds of millions of pounds. Now, I'm going to say it, not just the IPPR that are asking for this. The councils are asking for it. There's an awful lot of just general citizens in the street realising how bad a decision it is at this time. It's not something that can be done or afforded, especially when there's so much need available. Not need available, need present is what I meant to say. There's so many people who need help. Cutting council tax or freezing it, which is an effective cut, achieves nothing. It damages only. People will lose their jobs. Services will be cut. Places like swimming pools, recreation centres, they'll close. Maintenance, that'll go. All sorts of problems. Because the Brains Trust had a shitty speech for conference and was desperate for something, for some breadcrumbs to throw to the ducks in the audience. Anyway, White said the proposed council tax freeze will save the poorest households at most £1 a week. He said at a cost of at least 200 million, and it will do nothing to lift the children out of poverty. Well, the current figure is it will cost over £1 billion. And what's it benefiting? Nobody. Council tax, he says, is an inherently regressive tax where any gains are felt most by the richest households. He said the 200 million should be used to boost the SCP and offset the 2-child cap on means-tested benefits introduced by the Tories. I'm not going to get into the whole argument of the 2-child cap, but I will say that to not, how can we put this? If you increase the money on the 2-child cap, it benefits certain households over others. It doesn't encourage women to go into work. It encourages women to remain at home and have lots of babies. And we all know that there's a certain group for whom that is the designed sort of principle. So I can see why he would be eager to do this, because there are certain cohorts that will breed more than others. And I'll leave that one there. You can do the thinking on that one. Anyway, White wrote, the Scottish Government has rightly described the 2-child limit as harmful and discriminatory. Using its devolved powers, that harmful policy could be mitigated in Scotland. The IPPR also wants to see extra money raised in the budget through taxes on the wealthy. Yes, another one who doesn't understand what the wealthy will do. Let's tax the wealthy. Oh, where are the wealthy going? Yousaf has backed the principle of a new income tax band on earnings between $75,000 and $125,000. And the IPPR believes he should deliver on the pledge. It looks like it's going to happen. Meanwhile, all those, like I say, the people caught in that, the doctors, the professional grades, they're going to be £4,000 a year or so worse off over the course of a working life. Who knows? £100,000, £150,000 worse off. Why would you stay? Why would you stay there? If you're going to tax you like that, and that's only now. They'll put the rates up later. They'll extend the band. Why would you stay? Move your business down south. Move your business into England. Save yourself £4,000 a year. And if you're employing other people, that's a lot of money. And of course, it isn't just the uplift that doesn't go. I've put this before in a previous video. It isn't just the uplift that doesn't go to Scotland. It's everything up to that uplift, which the Scottish government got previously, is now going to Westminster. These people are morons. They're absolute morons. Anyone knows what's going to happen because people are clever. And I'm going to say most people are very, very far cleverer than the SNP. Anyway, other budget asks include expanding childcare to 1 and 2 year olds for families on low income benefits. I think it should be expanded to families regardless. Let's not define income basis for this. Childcare is universal. Let's have it that way. The IPPR is also calling for social housing to be scaled up in a bid to reduce the dependence on private tenancies. I agree with social housing being done. Absolutely social housing. Go and build as many social houses as you like. There is no limit on the amount of social houses that anyone should be building. However, here's the thing. Nobody will want to live in them because all houses being built from next year have to have heat pumps. Social houses, no, it's cold. I'll stay in this house that's got a gas central heating. Thank you. Nobody will want to live in them. Anyway, he says, as research has shown that social housing can provide a huge uplift to households. The other thing is building it creates an awful lot of jobs and a lot of money into the economy. It really boosts the economy. Building is fantastic for an economy. So let's go out there and build 10,000 social housing units across the country. 10,000. And especially in rural areas. Don't have to build big new towns or anything, but in small places, smallish places, build, a dozen. Build a dozen social houses or something. Help the local communities. It massively helps. Anyway, IPBR's intervention comes after 150 groups demand Humza Yousaf keep his promise of increasing the SCP to £30 a week. I don't think that's a big ask. Given how much inflation has been recently, especially food inflation. Now, the general level inflation has been around 10%. Food inflation has been 25%. And the poor pay more because for them, food is a higher percentage of their income. And I think that a £30 isn't unreasonable considering. Anyway, the statement read, "We understand the government faces difficult context, but with hard-up families across Scotland already making impossible choices, blah, 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 blah." Basically, it's lots of people. It's the councils, it's charities, it's this think tank. There's even people within the SNP itself. They're all saying, dump the council tax freeze. But will he listen? Or will he go ahead? Because we all know that he never makes mistakes and he can never be wrong. And so to dump it would mean that he was wrong. So don't hold your breath. He really is a bear of very little brains. Coming up. One of the problems when you have this sort of dogma, this dogmatic approach to the political spectrum that the SNP undoubtedly have is that you can never be wrong. Your ideology must always be correct. You never make mistakes. Everything you do is perfect. And it is this mantra of perfection that leads you into the trap of being unable to correct your mistakes. And so if you cannot admit that you got something wrong, how on earth can you correct your errors? And that, of course, is where the Grand Mufti is now. He knows he should not have announced the council tax freeze, but he can't go back on it now without looking like a complete dick. Far too late for that. But there we go. So that's it. What's going to happen? He's going to have to keep pushing with the cap. With the freeze. He can't release it. He can't be seen to be wrong. And so all these people may be calling for it. But unless the other members of his party start doing it, he's going to be forced to carry on with it with such great damaging effects. But hey, at least the wealthy in Scotland are going to be a lot better off. I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope that things change with him. I do hope that he's definitely on the way out and that somebody, somewhere, does the decent thing and pulls the plug on him. Till next time, stay safe, stay well, and I will speak to you later. Bye.